Everybody has that one company they hate. Maybe you hate EA for the way that they buy, then kill all the promising game developers they see. Maybe you hate Nickelodeon because of the way they jerk creators around, giving them no chance to shine. Maybe you hate Ticonderoga pencils because... I don't know, I'm sure you have your reasons. We all may have our opinions today, but back in the 2000s, almost everyone was united in their common belief that the company they hated most was 4Kids Entertainment. And I'm willing to guess that I just set a shiver down your spines by mentioning that name. Anime fans in particular hate this company with a passion. But what if I told you that there was more to them than meets the eye, including their incredibly interesting story? Allow me to walk you through the history of 4Kids Entertainment. I'll bet you think that 4Kids started off in the 1990s, right? You know, around the time a certain show about pocket monsters premiered? If that was your guess, you would be wrong. 4Kids Entertainment started off in 1970 under the name Leisure Concepts. I know, thrilling name. They started off licensing toy rights for the likes of Charlie's Angels, Thundercats, and even Star Wars. This became a very lucrative business. And what does every lucrative business like to do? Expand. Like most people, their first thoughts were television. In 1987, they tried getting deals with many media companies, but the only one that ended up panning out was a deal with Activision, or at least what would later become Activision. Eventually, they hit their stride in 1992 when they started to dub foreign cartoons, specifically anime. See, at the time, anime was this strange underground medium that most Westerners weren't familiar with. This was considered a bold risk in some senses, and a budgetary move in others. At the time, anime wasn't a super big phenomenon over here in the States like it is today. Therefore, it's likely that they got these properties for cheap. None of them were monster hits, but they were able to keep the company afloat. In 1995, they changed their name to the one special name that everyone absolutely loves to hear, 4Kids Entertainment. And it was also around that time when 4Kids finally struck gold. On April 1st, 1997, the Western world was introduced to the Pokemon anime, which, as we all know, was based off the phenomenon video game franchise that was taking the nation by storm. Like every job out there, you have to pay your dues before you get to the big ranks. All those little shows that 4Kids took on helped them get a good enough resume and be trusted with the Pokemon license. And wouldn't you know it, it was a big hit. How couldn't it be? This was at the height of Pokemania when Pokemon was taking over an entire generation. It's safe to say that 4Kids got lucky with this one. It caused this rinky-dink little company to become a major player in the dubbing game. With Pokemon in their corner, 4Kids was in high demand for foreign creators to dub their shows for international audiences. So much so, that they even managed to get some other big names like Ultraman and Yu-Gi-Oh! Eventually, they had an impressive enough catalog to attract the eyes of the Fox network. See, Fox had a big problem at the time. Their Saturday morning block, Fox Kids, had its lineup purchased by a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, leaving Fox with nothing. Absolutely nothing. If they kept on having nothing, then Kids WB would basically take over the entire market. They couldn't let this happen. They saw that 4Kids had some impressive successes under their belt, and therefore was able to be trusted with their own Saturday morning block. Not a time slot, an entire block. Once the deal was solidified, 4Kids immediately set off to make one of the best darn blocks you've ever seen. They were given an amazing once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have their own Saturday morning block all to themselves, and they were not about to mess it up. On Saturday morning, September 14th, 2002, the nation was introduced to the Fox Box. You can tell how amped they were with the very first promo they showed on the very first day.
And now, from the producers of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, it's the Fox Box. Get set for an all-new way to watch TV.
Fox Box.
It's the Fox Box. Non-stop action.
Fox Box.
Out-of-this-world adventures.
Fox Box.
And crazy comedies. It's changing Saturday mornings forever.
Listen to Mike Pollock's voice there. Tell me he's not genuinely excited to be the host of this all-new block. And spoiler alert, this didn't stop until he ceased being the announcer in 2005. We'll get to that later, trust me. The first day was filled with viewer engagement. There were trivia games set up for each of the shows that they aired that day. as well as many pushes to go on their all-new website and learn more about the programs. Speaking of the programs they aired that day, they had a pretty impressive lineup right from the get-go. Stargate Infinity, Ultraman Tiga, Kirby Right Back At Ya, and Ultimate Muscle. Oh, and there was also Fighting Foodons, which I have no idea why they included in their initial lineup. It was a colossal failure in Japan and was clearly a Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cash-in. Needless to say, it's not the best way to introduce people to the Fox Box. Aside from that, the shows were pretty well received, and it only got better from there. Foxbox quickly added more and more shows to their network, like Pirate Islands, Funky Cops, reruns of that underrated Back to the Future animated series, and perhaps their biggest hit at the time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was an adaptation of a popular comic series, and also had name recognition thanks to the even more popular TV series in the 1980s. As you could imagine, Turtle Fever was back in business. However, not even TMNT could compare to the monster that was looming over the horizon.
Sonic X! Exciting! Extreme! Exactly! For high-velocity excitement, catch Sonic X!
I dare you to try.
Premiering this September, only in the Fox Box.
Yeah, gotta go fast, folks. Sonic X. I don't even think 4Kids Entertainment themselves knew it was gonna be this big of a hit. From the day they dropped the first sneak peek, it was a smash. Everybody loved it. By the way, off topic, but I have an original VHS recording of the Fox Box block during that day. Commercials and all. I got the first episode sneak peeks of Funky Cops and Sonic X right here. Also, it happened to be the week before Fighting Foodons ended, which I guess was also a blessing. Cool, huh? Anyways, back to the video. Every network has their monster. That one show that's so big that it completely blocks all the attention away from the other shows, causing them to suffer. Nickelodeon has SpongeBob, Cartoon Network has Teen Titans Go and now Total Dramarama, and Fox Box had Sonic X. It was clearly the star of the block, causing all other shows to get less and less focus, even the ones that had been there from the beginning. From an artist perspective, it's shameful because it's not giving the other shows a fair shot. From a business perspective, however, it sadly makes sense. Give the people what they love, you know? Even if it's been edited and Americanized. And now, we have to talk about the thing I've been trying to hold off as long as possible. Oh boy. Do you know why 4Kids has its awful reputation? It's because of the lackluster job they did with their dubs. To some, they're more than lackluster. They're the worst thing since Patty the Pelican.
I can't get the slightest. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Nothing's gonna happen, I tell you.
Well, there's a good reason for it, I tell you. Just take a look. There's nothing in the gas tank here. I think we better swim back ashore, we should.
Now, this is where the dislike bar is going to expand a ton, but I think they're way overhated.
Is this some sort of peasant joke that I'm too rich to understand?
No, it's not a joke. You gotta know the facts. First of all, did you know that the vast majority of these shows, namely Pokemon and Sonic X, had their owners actually ask them to make these edits and Americanize it? This is because, as mentioned earlier, anime wasn't a big thing over here. They wanted to make it as acceptable to overseas audiences as possible. That, and they approved of all the changes before and after. For the most part, there's one piece of their lineup that didn't get approval, but we'll get there soon. Second, 4Kids wasn't the only entity responsible, nor were the creators of the shows. It was the network as well. In many other countries such as the UK, Canada, France, Japan, and so forth, you're able to get away with a lot more risque content on family-friendly programming. Sex, violence, making fun of cultural icons, it's all fair game over there. Not so much in the United States, especially at the time, which of course is where 4Kids was operating from. Here's how the process works. The network takes a look at what they're going to air, notes what they object to, and instructs the people in charge of the project to make changes. In this case, that was 4Kids. They would review the changes, and if they approved of them, the episode would air. If not, then there's more work to be done. That's not just how 4Kids would do it either. That's how every single show does it, even domestic ones. So even if this was some great travesty, they aren't entirely to blame. The networks would be too. And this leads me to my third and final point. Is it really that bad? Does a rice ball becoming a sandwich really change the quality of an episode? No. Does removing any and all text, even English text, really make an episode bad on the spot? No. Let's flip the script here. Would an episode of The Simpsons be bad if in Japan they replaced all the Krusty Burgers with rice balls? No. It would be a small cultural change that wouldn't affect the overall quality of the episode. Would it be a strange choice? Yeah, especially in these days. But it wouldn't make the episode bad. I must say though, early on, these were usually as far as the edits would go. Later on, they started hurting the stories more and more. As for the Foxbox era, more often than not, they were fine, simple, little changes. As time went on, shows came and went, but Foxbox still did its best to be creative, exciting, and unlike anything else out there on Saturday mornings. They even used archival footage for their biggest shows to turn them into a TV movie called Fight for the Foxbox. While it's not objectively good, it's fun, and you have to admire this little stunt. It's like Nick Miss or the CN City bumpers. It's a lot of fun seeing the Foxbox stars interact with each other. They didn't have to go as far as they did, but they did it anyways, and people were thankful for it. However, as the old saying goes, what goes up must come down. Around this time, 4Kids made their first definitive mistake. In order to get their hands on the likes of Ultimate Muscle and Magical Doremi, 4Kids was obligated to dub one other show. Don't know if you've heard of it, it's called One Piece. It's this little small-time anime over in Japan that's gone on for a little while. Hang on, don't freak out, stop typing. I'm kidding. In reality, this is one of the biggest animes of all time. There's one problem though. One Piece may be good, but it's not for young children. So why would 4Kids, a company that makes shows for kids, think that making a dub of One Piece would be a good idea? Well, they didn't. At all, but they really wanted those other properties. The executives didn't even watch a single episode before agreeing to dub the show. But once they did, they tried to get out of it. But it was too late. The deal was already made. So, against their better judgment, 4Kids Entertainment made one of the worst decisions they've ever made, and agreed to dub One Piece. How did it go? How do you think? It was a disaster right from the beginning. This fairly adult series was neutered into oblivion when 4Kids got their hands on it. Remember a few minutes ago when I said up until this point the edits didn't make too many changes? And if anything, there were small tweaks or cultural edits? Yeah, this is where everything changes. This is the first show that I can definitively say got the 4Kids treatment. No stone was left unturned. As you can see on the screen right now, the series was almost unrecognizable now. This wasn't just for the animation either, it was for the writing too. Everything was so much more juvenile. There was no more death, violence was lessened, characters were dumbed down, arcs were shortened or removed, the list goes on. There's a reason that this is considered one of the worst dubs ever. To be fair though, 4Kids themselves knew this was a bad idea. There was even a rumor going around that they were trying to make it as bad as possible so they'd intentionally lose the dubbing rights to the show. Whether or not that's true, it is confirmed that they were overjoyed when they lost them. While they were originally toying with making two versions, one being an uncut original version that would only be on home video, and another one that would play on TV, this didn't end up happening. Luckily, future dubbing companies were able to do the show justice. Guess it just goes to show that sometimes you need to go with your gut. And let this be a testament to the fact that 4Kids never wanted to dub One Piece. That doesn't excuse them, of course, but I hope it provides some insight into how the people in 4Kids used to care. This all changed in 2005 when the executives had a bright idea to rebrand the Foxbox into 4Kids TV. And with this rebrand, everything changed. Gone was the spontaneity, the energy, the creativity, and the passion. Now everything was corporate, bland, and pandering. Nowhere was this clearer than in the promos. In the Foxbox era, they had Mike Pollock as their announcer, and he was fantastic. No matter what, he was giving it his all. Even today, he still gets me excited. That and his voice was always accompanied by the Foxbox logo being a creative mascot. It would shift, change, and warp to help display important information, all with loads of personality, despite not being an actual character. This, combined with the snazzy music, really gave a strong action-adventure vibe. On the other hand, 4Kids TV was always one of two things, either bland or boring, or Poochie levels of in-your-face. And don't forget, Sonic was everywhere. He was the monster, remember? They couldn't have so much as a promo without Sonic being slapped on it. Which one do you think is worse? No personality or an annoying personality? It got even worse with the shows. This is where the 4Kids we all know and not necessarily love comes in. They went way too trigger happy with the censorship. Just like One Piece, everything that was slightly suggestive was removed, to the point where every single show had to be a sugary sweet, nicey nice, happy little fun time. Case in point, the penultimate episode of Sonic X. Spoilers ahead here. Season 3 went in weird directions. Rather than Sonic X, the show became more like Star Trek. Whether or not you like it, it can't be denied that they destroyed the conclusion of the Cosmo arc. Cosmo was an alien girl who joined the cast. She and Tails had a romantic connection, but little did he know, she was forced to be a spy for the Metarex, these robot aliens that like to destroy planets. In the second to last episode, Cosmo and the Metarex are bound to a planet, and Cosmo tells Tails that the only way to destroy the Metarex forever is to blow up the planet with her and the Metarex bound to it. The scene has almost no music. It's full of lingering ambience and raw emotion in the face of turmoil. Tails can't kill the love of his life, but he also can't doom the galaxy. It gets to the point where Eggman of all people has to talk some sense into him, and does so in a really sensitive way, especially for a villain. Tails visibly gets his heart broken multiple times before ultimately firing the laser while screaming his declaration of love. To this day, it gives me major feels. While I think Season 3 of Sonic X is hit and miss, this moment makes up for any of the dud episodes. Of course, this was all ruined by 4Kids. They cut it down to about half the time, there's sound everywhere, no shots linger, and there's no sense of atmosphere. Yeah, I kinda feel bad for Tails here, but it doesn't have the same weight at all. For one thing, throughout the entire show, they tried to remove any possible romantic connection between Tails and Cosmo. So this doesn't have a romantic feel to it, it has a friendship feel. That would normally be all fine and good, but it's nowhere near as powerful in this scenario. And of course, they wimp out by saying, oh, she could come back, she's going to revive her clan, good luck Cosmo, I believe in you! I can't believe this version is what messed me up as a kid. This was common practice for 4Kids. Take some popular product, butcher it, and rake in the profit. You know, it got to the point where they'd take something as adult like Sin City, dumb it down for kids, then change the title to Silly City or something.
Next week on an all-new Silly City.
Come on, I know I was a bad friend. Can you forgive me, please?
You really expect a quick apology after drinking all the—
Hand over the money, Marv, or your friend is gonna be tickled to oblivion.
These were some bad owies.
I always hated bobbing for apples.
Can they defeat the yellow scoundrel?
Only the finest apple juice in the city.
Find out on Silly City, only on 4Kids TV. Oh, I'm doing this for my family.
This practice may have been able to work early on, but by now, people were starting to get their hands on the originals. With more people watching the uncut One Piece and Sonic X and more, they knew exactly what 4Kids was doing. Those who defended them were long gone now, with people who absolutely despised them taking their place. 4Kids didn't care. They were still making tons of money. After all, they had a lot of shows to fall back on. Sonic X, TMNT, Sonic X, Viva Pinata, Sonic X, Dinosaur, Sonic X, and Sonic X. They were untouchable. Except no, they weren't. See, in 2005, they lost the rights to their most popular show, Pokemon. This should come as no surprise. Have you seen how they treated other shows that they got their hands on? Then it got worse. In 2008, Fox decided to cut ties with 4Kids, ending 4Kids TV entirely. Losing Pokemon was already a major blow to them, and their sour reputation was certainly doing them no favors. And now with them losing their Saturday morning slot, things looked pretty bleak. Luckily for them, they found the silver lining. Irony of all ironies here, Fox Kids' main competitor, Kids WB, was going to shut down. And just like Fox did, they turned to 4Kids to be their replacement. This is where we got the CW 4Kids. For a brief time, the two blocks coexisted, but it seems like 4Kids put a bigger focus on their CW contract. So, when the Fox contract was over, did they learn their lessons and finally treat their audiences like they have brains? Nope. If anything, they got worse. More dumbing down of the source material, more treating kids like idiots who can't handle anything that isn't overly joyous. Really, there isn't too much to say about CW 4Kids because it's the same thing all over again. But then, in 2010, CW4Kids rebranded themselves into Toonzai. At this point, any semblance of Foxbox-related anything was all gone, minus Sonic X, of course. This is partially due to them losing their licenses to some of their shows, wonder why, and because like Nickelodeon, they don't care about their past. Their cash cow shows are enough to carry the network and that's all they need. This new rebrand wasn't enough to drum interest back up, of course. At this point, their reputation was damaged beyond repair. Seeing that nobody cared about Toonzai, the company knew it had to do something, anything to save their skins. And they sure did do something, alright. You remember how big of a disaster the One Piece dub was? Well, they decided to make the exact same mistake all over again with Dragon Ball Z Kai. They didn't dub it, but they drove Funimation crazy with their demands for censorship and re-recorded lines. When you get down to it, the 4Kids dub of Dragon Ball Z Kai had all the same issues as the One Piece dub, only this time, the company wasn't ashamed. Dragon Ball was huge, and could make them tons of money. Who cares that it's butchered beyond belief? There's money to be made. This attempt at easy money did not go over well. And sure enough, this did nothing to ease their steady financial decline. Even without the programming issue, the network was already a mess. The interstitials took an influence from the 4Kids days, being so annoying and juvenile that it was hard to believe that these were made by the same people that made the Foxbox. And sadly, this is how they went down. This was the end. The final iteration of Foxbox was this loud, annoying, childish slap in the face to any sense of the word quality. Why is that? That's because disaster struck again. Apparently, 4Kids had been engaging in backroom deals that made them legally able to pocket all of the money from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dubs and not give any back to the production company Toei Animation. Toei sued 4Kids, causing 4Kids to have to sell off most of their properties to pay the losses and legal fees. With 4Kids having lost most of their shows, hemorrhaging whatever few viewers they had, and losing money faster than you could say whoops, they had to pull out of the Saturday morning entertainment once and for all. I know what you're all thinking. What about Vortex? Well, contrary to popular belief, Vortex is not a 4Kids property. It's made by Saban, the company that owns Power Rangers. They got the rights to some of the 4Kids shows, which I think is where the confusion stems from, but it was its own thing. And for the record, Vortex was fine, but it was doomed to fail. By this point, Saturday morning cartoons were becoming a thing of the past. Why wake up early to watch cartoons when Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and even Disney Channel basically have them all day? Even if 4Kids got lucky with turning Toonzai around, it wouldn't have lasted. They would be putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket was rotting away. After they escaped bankruptcy, 4Kids Entertainment rebrand one more time, this time to 4 Licensing Corporation. Rather than purely focusing on TV shows, they went back to their leisure concepts roots, and decided to market any product that would dare be seen with them. This time, they only got 1 or 2 small products that never went anywhere. Most notably Isoblock, some baseball headgear that got some mediocre endorsement deals. This wasn't enough to keep them afloat, as in 2016, they finally gave up the ghost and filed for bankruptcy one last time, admitting defeat. And nobody has heard from the company since, mostly because it's dead. And thus ends the tale of 4Kids Entertainment / 4 Licensing Corporation / Leisure Concepts. What a sad, sad story this was. A young upstart company who got lucky and was given a time to shine. At first they cared about their craft and were often misunderstood. They truly did care and wanted to give people a fun time on Saturday mornings. Once they rose into the business world, they lost sight of these goals and became extremely vain and conceited. The only thing that seemed to matter anymore was to get their brand name out there, thus making as much revenue as possible. Eventually their practices came back to bite them, and no matter how badly they wanted to stay afloat and no matter how many schemes they tried, they were forced to succumb to the inevitable fate of bankruptcy. To all you aspiring creators out there, you can learn from the tale of 4Kids. Don't lose sight of your passion. You may find success, but you can't let that hurt your vision. You can find success by being genuine, not pandering. Be creative, not bland. Treat your audience like functioning humans, not like great soup-lined protoplasmic invertebrate jellies. Stay true to who you are, and you can find your following. Let the success go to your head though, and you'll end up regretting it. Just like 4Kids Entertainment. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys learn from this story? What do you think of 4Kids? Do you think they're overhated, or do you think they deserve what they've gotten? Comment below and let me know, because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching everyone, and thank you so very much for the 2,000 subscribers. It really means a lot that each and every one of you took the time to click that little subscribe button. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you guys next time!